Breakfast. Vincent. Hey. Out. you, you know the rules. You know the rules.
Yesterday we're walking, taking our bread, we're walking, we're gonna get cookies. Get cookies to eat. We're standing in line because everybody's here all the time and they want to eat after Turkey Day.
Hot chocolates, hot chocolate and cookies. Not really thinking about diet right now. I did get home though. Hey guys. So I'm just sitting here working and I don't feel very good. It makes sense, right? Because we ate like crap this afternoon. The hot chocolate was delicious, but it was way too sweet. It's not really, I mean, I liked it and everything, but it was kind of comforting and stuff, but I didn't care about it very much. I was like, this is fun, but also they put whipped cream on it, and I didn't ask for that. Like some caramel sauce and stuff and whatever. I guess I'm just not used to drinks that are that sweet and just crazy sweet, you know? It was delicious, but we also had the cookies. Oh my God, we ate all those cookies. That was a mistake too. And I'm sure the cookies are probably actually the thing that's making me feel not so great. So note to self, don't do that anymore. Yikes, that was a lot of junk. Am I just going through like holiday stuff, you know? I mean, I feel like I gotta get a hold of myself. Every day I kind of look in the mirror lately and I'm like, But I'm not to the point yet where I really want to do something about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you ever have that where you know you're not doing the right stuff, but you kind of are just like, whatever. I feel like that right now. I read this article one time about, it was by James Clear. I'm going to try to find it and link to it down below. James Clear is one of my favorite writers. He just does these articles maybe once a week or something like that, but they're about productivity and stuff like that. It's fun to read, but he had this one that really stuck with me. Oh, it was this idea of burners and how, like stovetop burners, and how we have these stovetop burners that are always on somewhat, right? So let's say you have 4 of them in your life. One of them is your health, one of them is your relationships, one of them is work, and one of them is, I don't know, maybe it's spiritual or something like that. I'm not sure. But there's 4 of them. And I don't think they have to be the same for everybody. They could be different, but it's the 4 main things that you have in your life. But the idea is that, sorry guys, I'm getting tired. The idea is that you can't have all 4 burners on at one time and be successful cooking or life, you know? Like you can't have all 4 on high and be able to cook 4 different dishes at one time well, without burning something or, you know? So there's this idea of it's so difficult to maintain the food you're eating, your exercise plan, your family relationships, full speed ahead at work, successfully, all these different things, your meditation practice or whatever it is, I should read the article again, but what I came away with, what he was saying was that you can't, like, it's not possible to do it. So you kind of have to decide at different times what you're willing to focus on and what's going to be most important to you. And I always like to have this thought of like, well, it doesn't, why can't you just have them on simmer, so to speak, at all times? But the problem with that is that if you have everything on simmer all the time, you don't excel at anything. So you kind of have to push certain things aside at different times because it's just not humanly possible to do all of the things. Not to mention the fact, I'm talking about this from a perspective of someone who doesn't have kids. If you have kids, it's like 50 times worse, right? Because you have to take care of your kids as well. It's not just like your husband or whatever, but it's also the kids, which they end up being such a much larger percentage of everything you have to deal with when you have children. So, what I've been thinking about lately, and I just was like thinking about this in relation to that, like the way that I've been eating lately is because I've been putting a lot of focus on my work life lately. Maybe you guys wouldn't notice it, but I have been, and so that means putting a lot more focus there means there's a lot less of me to be able to focus on other things, which is, has a lot to do with the food, I think, that's been happening with me lately, and the choices that I've been making and stuff, because it's not my first priority. And so, I guess I don't really have anything else to say about this other than just that concept. And what do you think about that concept? Do you feel the same way that, it's hard to balance all the things? But yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with not being able to balance everything. It's just a matter of being able to be okay with that, right? Like, be okay with the fact that I'm not 100% perfect at my nutrition or exercise right now, or even my walking. Like, I haven't been, going walking as consistently as I'd like to. But usually what ends up happening, you guys know this about me already, but what usually ends up happening is I go for a while like this, and then I get sick of it, and then I shift. So then I start thinking more about nutrition and exercise for a while. And then my work suffers a little bit, and I don't go as, quickly into my work as I'd like to, or proceeding with my business or whatever it is, that kind of stuff. And it kind of is just this like flip-flop thing all the time, where sometimes these burners are on, other times these burners are on, and you're full speed ahead, cooking on high on your work life or in your relationship life, or, maybe, and the thing is too, like, it reminds me of like when you first get into a relationship with somebody, if you just start dating somebody or whatever, you're full speed ahead on that relationship for a while, and everything else suffers because you get a little crazy, and you got to think about that relationship and, make it grow in the beginning and whatever. It's just kind of an interesting concept I was thinking about, and kind of makes you kind of, like, think about try to be less hard on yourself when you're working on different burners, when you're working on a burner that isn't related to food or exercise or health or something. Not that you should be not always thinking about that, but it's like, you don't turn the burners off for the things that you're not super focusing on. You just put them on low for a while, you know what I mean? And you kind of work on the other ones that are on high with a lot of your focus and attention. And when those ones, like, maybe you get tired of working on those ones for a bit and you need a break or whatever, or this other one, you're so sick of not focusing on it that you have to come back to it. So for instance, like right now, I'm sitting here working on my work stuff a lot, really putting a lot of care and attention and focus into work, all the different aspects that are happening with my professional life right now. But that it means that the food part and the exercise part, they're struggling a little bit. It's making me feel kind of bad, but it's on low, it's on a simmer. So I'm like, okay, it's all right. I'll get back to it later. And then that's when I ended up doing challenges, when I've gotten so sick of the fact that my food and health and exercise is on low that I can't, then I'm finally like, okay, I need to back off on this other thing, whatever it might be, put that on low for a bit, and then go high, on high with my food or my exercise or something like that. So that's just something I was kind of thinking about. Let me know what you guys think about that down below. Do you find the same thing, that you kind of have to, lower your focus on one thing for a little bit in order to focus really well on another thing, or really, get into that thing and sort of perfect it, and then get so sick of ignoring the one thing that you have to come back to that? I find that to be fairly true for me. Or are you so amazing? Do you have such great techniques, which you should share with us, that you're able to kind of do them all at once? The thing is, too, we all have different lives, right? We all have different things that are in our lives. So, for instance, I don't have children at this point. So if I were to compare myself with a mother, say with 3 young children or something, our lives are going to look completely different. So she would have different focuses than I do, kind of a thing. But still, then one of her burners would be her children, and hopefully she doesn't just put her children on simmer all the time. That's starting to turn into a really weird example. But you get what I mean. Of course, you would kind of, at this point, being a mother, you would kind of always keep the children at least on a medium on your stovetop. Oh, God. Do you see what I'm trying to say? And then maybe that's one of the main reasons why mothers, for example, have problems being able to balance all the other things that come for personal stuff, personal growth and things like that. It's a very difficult balancing act, I think, for all of us, no matter what, whether we have children or not. Or maybe, we all have times in our lives, too, when things that we don't expect happen, like, say, a parent gets sick and you have to take care of the parent for a while, or maybe you have a child who is kind of a troublemaker and they are in jail, or they have, issues like that that your focus gets taken away from, or something happens at work and you get laid off, or you lose your job or something, then that becomes your life. And we kind of all have to just sort of flip back and forth between these things. Anyway, so I wanted to just talk about that because it's kind of an interesting way of understanding it in your mind and making it kind of okay. Like, it makes you feel a little bit better when you're like, oh yeah, I can't do everything, and it's okay to not do everything all the time. Because here I am putting a lot of focus on work, and I think I'm doing very well with the things that I'm doing. But then when I look in the mirror, I'm mad at myself, and I'm like, stop it. Like, you can't be perfect all the time. Like, you can't have everything cooking on high and not burn something, all the time. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm just tired, but let me know what you think about this. Yeah, have a good night. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.